Hey everybody, I'm going to get a little vulnerable today and talk about something that affects me personally, something called complex PTSD. Why? Because a lot of cops reach out to me to vent because I'm a safe place. I'm on the outside now, but a lot of brothers and sisters in blue reach out and we talk about this stuff almost daily. If this video helps anybody, that's kind of the mission, but stick with me for a few minutes. I'm going to talk about what complex PTSD is, how it affected me, how it still affects me, and how I try to deal with it. Hopefully it helps. All right, so first of all, what is complex PTSD? So it's complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Now I'm going to read from the Cleveland Clinic. Complex PTSD is a stress disorder. It's a mental health condition that can develop if you experience prolonged exposure to certain events or seeing certain things that could cause trauma to the brain, right? So it kind of presents itself, with anxiety, flashbacks, nightmares, avoiding situations and places kind of related to that event or prolonged exposure to those events. So seeing the same things over and over and over. And basically just, continuing to see that stuff day in, day out. As a first responder, you get to see some pretty crazy stuff, the worst of society. I was an action junkie cop. Yeah, I'll be first to admit, I used to go to all the cool calls, whether it was a shooting, a stabbing, or, violence. I used to really, I like those calls. It was fun. I can handle anything. Nothing really bothered me. Here's an example. I remember jumping in a bathtub full of blood to pull out a guy who had stabbed himself, and I ended up sticking my fingers in his stab wounds. Didn't bother me. I've held people who were trying to hang themselves, and my partner cut them down. None of that stuff ever bothered me until I started to see bodies. First few bodies, not terrible, but the images kind of stuck in my brain. And while I was in patrol, I seen a lot of bodies, and they say the human brain can only store so many bodies. And I think that's probably true. Ultimately, I got in the traffic section where I was part of the fatality section. And guess who got to see bodies day in, day out? This guy. Kids, adults, teens, people, shredded, torn apart in car crashes. And it started to affect me. That simple. Got to a point where I remember, one situation that used to happen a lot. I used to drive home from work, 4 o'clock in the morning after night shift, and I would almost envision my car wrapped around a pole, like a crash that I was at, or I could almost envision me what it would be like, in a crash. I used to literally drive down Anderson Road, heading home to Evergreen, stop at a green light, and I was terrified to kind of move forward, in fear of some other car would come T-bone me and kill me, right? Now the worst was how it presented itself with my babies. So as a new father, I would get home and I would sneak into my kids' rooms because I wanted to, see them before I went to bed. And they looked like corpses to me, which was crazy, right? So I used to poke my babies at 4 o'clock in the morning and toddlers, as they got a little older, just to make sure they were alive, right? Like, so not normal. And several times my ex found me on the bedroom floor in the morning because I had stayed with them through the night just to make sure it was all good. This type of thing led to trouble sleeping. I was diagnosed with something called a parasomnia, which it's called complex PTSD. Confusional arousal. Haha. So basically I would have dreams. A lot of times it was bodies, whatever, but I would wake up and I would kind of act out my dreams. A lot of times it was just the 3 scenarios, either dead bodies, bad guys in the house. So I'd get up and act like I was trying to find the bad guys, or squirrels in my bed, which didn't make any sense, right? So how kids have, sleepwalking issues? Well, I had that as an adult, which is called night terrors. Anyway, I was medicated to kind of turn my brain off. My ex thought I was crazy, and ultimately we built another bedroom in our new house in the basement, which was soundproofed, so the crazy guy can sleep downstairs. I slept alone for 6 years in my last relationship. Yeah, full disclosure. It's a little embarrassing, actually. Anywho, it is what it is. Over time, my relationship started to fall apart. I was a shell of myself. I wasn't the happy-go-lucky guy anymore. People used to talk to me and I couldn't actively listen. I would zone out. I was always irritable, snapping at my kids. I just wasn't who I used to be, who I am. 2020 was really, really hard for me. I was very, very depressed. I started to hate work. I started to hate going to work. My relationship was falling apart. I was being a shitty dad. And, I went through this promotion process where I kind of got screwed. I think everybody knows that story at CPS. But anyway, it is what it is. I decided to get my real estate license at the very, very end of 2020. So that January 2021, I had the worst month of my career. Just a lot of death, a lot of dead bodies, and it was really messing with me. But I think God stepped in, and I got hurt at the end of January, and I needed to have surgery. So I had a hernia surgery. So while I was off for 3 months, I got my real estate license, and the plan was to go back to CPS, when I was fit for duty. Doctor said, no way in hell. He goes, there's no way you're going back to work being around guns. He says, you're depressed. He goes, you have severe complex PTSD, which is the first time I've ever heard that. And he goes, you're crying in my office. So he tried to put me on stress leave, which I declined, being too cool, being a stubborn Newfoundlander. You could probably relate. And I took an unpaid leave of absence to try real estate. This put massive stress on my relationship because we didn't have any money. And we have a new house, 2 car payments, and, kids, right? So I said, don't worry. If people can sell houses, I can too. And thankfully, I sold 5 houses in my first 3 weeks. I never looked back. Anyway, fast forward to today. A lot of the symptoms have kind of gone away because I sleep through the night now, or at least most nights. I still get up with dreams. I still, wake up with this confusional arousal. It's tough, but fighting through it. I'm no longer medicated, but I have days where I struggle. Some days I'm irritable. Some days I have a hard time getting positive. And, I still think about, certain things. And I get images of bodies and... I'm not complaining. Being a first responder is the coolest job in the world, but gosh, it is hard on those men and women who do it every single day. And for me, I kind of reached my point. Shame on me for not talking to anybody. Maybe that would have been different. So, if you're watching this and, you're a first responder or even a civilian who struggles with something similar, reach out, have a chat. Like I literally talk to dozens of cops every month, and, I'm a safe place to vent. If you can learn from my kind of mistakes, please do. We need you to keep us safe at night. So thank you for what you do, but it's a hard freaking job and it's changed my life forever. Sure, life is a little different now and I got nothing to complain about. Life is good. My kids are healthy. Real estate's been amazing, but it's something I'll always deal with. And I'm not looking for any kind of sympathy. Just want to share with you kind of what I experienced, what I went through, in the hopes that it might help somebody. And I'm always here to chat. Have an amazing afternoon.